needing a sell sheet. But when you have an invention, when you have an idea, and you're working with a patent attorney, and you're maybe trying to get a license, or you're trying to present it to an investor group or whatever, that takes personal marketing. You need a personal sell sheet. And that's what Garrett is very, very good at. I'm going to give him probably one of the highest testimonials you can possibly give a human being. Over the last 15 to 18 years, Garrett and I both tend to be very highly visible people. We go to a lot of events, a lot of chamber meetings, a lot of social gatherings, after hours, things of this nature. We're pretty prominent around this town in terms of people we know and events we go to. And over the last 15 to 18 years, I've had the good fortune of meeting people before they've worked with Garrett. Getting to know them, having small talk with them, having a conversation with them. Some of them very shy, timid people. And then you run into them 6 months later or a year later after they've taken Garrett's course. Oh my word. Totally different people in terms of their confidence, their speech pattern, their believability. And I think enough said in terms of how good this person is. Garrett wrote a book several years ago titled, "You Can Sound Like You Know What You're Saying." Former Mayor Dick Berkeley, by the way, I believe, was responsible for helping name that book. And I have kidded Garrett over the years by saying, you know, Garrett, what you really are is you're teaching and you're helping people to have personal self-confidence and to be believable. Not only that, Garrett is a personal marketing guru. He offers a lot more than simply diagnosing your voice and helping with your speech pattern and things of that nature. Whether it be, you will rarely, if ever, see this guy without a bow tie on. That's by design. That's a part of his personal branding. And he knows that. He's very good at branding himself. He has his own personal name tag. Little subtleties that many of us overlook and don't take advantage of. So you are in for a treat this evening in terms of hearing what he has to offer. And I would highly encourage, if any of you are on the verge of needing to polish your own personal skills in terms of presenting to an investor group, to a group of manufacturers or exhibitors, to try to get royalties for your products, or whatever, you might very well want to consider at some point retaining his services, because he's very good at what he does. With no further ado, let me introduce my good friend Garrett Gardner.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep. Also, we can pass these out. He wants these passed out, so I can take one and pass them down.
Yes. I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I really on? Or is this something I'm hearing?
Do you want your website up?
I don't care. Either way, they can go to the website anytime they want. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. You know why? I love to do this. I like being on stage. I've been on stage since I was 8 years old. My dad had a big band in Washington, D.C. and put me on during the breaks with my ukulele. And I've never gotten off. When I came to Kansas City in 1978, as the Director of Sales for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, I was living downtown and met the folks at Italian Gardens. And they were looking for a strolling musician. And I started with them and then ran into a small Italian fellow by the name of Tony DiPardo. And I was his vocalist for 25 years. Tony is now 96 years old. Just retired from the Chiefs. Okay. That's telling the story. I'm telling the story. If you were to ask 10 of your closest friends, am I an introvert or an extrovert? What would they say? And you don't, I'm not asking you to answer that. I'm asking you to answer it to yourself. Because 90% are introverts. 90% of the population is an introvert. Which means they don't like presenting themselves. Now, I'm in the 10% that likes to present himself. Okay. We talked about the bow tie. This is what's called a moniker. It helps you remember who I am, And you put that together with my voice, and everything else just falls into place. Connie back here said to me, I remembered your voice. That's why I came tonight. I hope that wasn't the only reason you came tonight. Right? Okay. All right. Now, when you come up with an idea to invent, and by the way, full voice was an idea, I said, the number one fear in this country is what?
Speaking of trouble.
Correct. And if that's true, and 99% of the people hate it, I can't run out of customers. And when I was living in Kansas City, I said, I don't need to go anywhere else. There's not another vocal performance trainer in this town. There still isn't. Not because I'm so great, but they don't know how to do it. Now, I have a degree in sociolinguistics, which is the effective language on communication. So I know my stuff. And I want to help people become better speakers for themselves. So, when you're inventing something, you have this idea in your mind and you have all the features and benefits that you think is going to get you the money you need to get it going. And you write it down and write it down and write it down and build your prototype. But before you do that, it's here. Would everybody agree with me? It's already here. So I always tell people, instead of writing it down, leave it here. Because somebody else can always write it down for you. My website, I didn't do that. I didn't do my website. I'm a virtual corporation. I go to people who know what they're doing and can do it faster than I can. Therefore, if you have an idea, if you can talk about that idea and get people excited about that idea, you can always do the sell sheet later. So the piece that Brad passed out to you, becoming a talking sell sheet, is really important. Because if you don't, you're going to come to a situation in the development of this product and the selling of it where somebody's not going to take you seriously. So if you want to be taken seriously, you have to sound like you know what you're saying. There goes the name of the book. And that's what Dick Berkeley said to me. He said to me one day, I was speaking to the downtown Rotary group, and I used to call the company Vocal Communication Dynamics Incorporated. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything to a regular human being, right? I'm not a regular human being. That's supposed to elicit a laugh. That's okay. Anyway, but regular human beings don't get into Vocal Communication Dynamics Incorporated. Now, the state of Missouri loves it because they get their tax money. But Dick said to me on that day that I was speaking to Club 13, hey Gary, why don't you call it full voice? You keep telling us to use our full voice capability. Zing, rim shot. And I said, well, that sounds good. And then I went to a person who does logos, because I went to parochial schools. I didn't learn how to paint and draw and all this good stuff. I got the 4 R's. You know what those are? Reading, writing, arithmetic, and religion. Okay? None of them was art. Okay? So it's imperative for me to elicit the help of other people. And so I went to this fellow and I said, people are in a box about speaking in public. That's what he gave me. You see it subliminally, you get it right away. The minute I did the logo and started calling myself full voice, Dick Berkeley Handel came to me and he says, I'm going to hire you to help my general sales manager. Because he knew I was for real then. You're for real. Everybody in this room is for real. But you have to take yourself seriously, or no one else will. And if you can't tell your story, it is not going to happen. I don't care how pretty the piece is. And that was a really pretty piece. And it'll do something for them. But if they can't talk about it and say more about it and answer the little nuanced questions that people always ask, well, could you use it for this? Maybe. You have to think of those things. I've had too much coffee, excuse me. Sorry, I'm in camera and I did that. Good deal. Okay. So, where are we going tonight? I'll tell you where we're going. I'm going to read the rationale for this course. This is